All right, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. On this episode, we are counting down albums 60 through 51. I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Be sure to send us any and all comments, questions, concerns, love, and support to our Instagram at Wrapped Podcast or Twitter at Podcast Wrapped, or email us at wrappedpodcast@gmail.com. You can also visit our website, wrappedpodcast.captivate.fm, to stream any and all episodes. And as always, thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy. Album number 60, Father of the Bride by Vampire Weekend.
Bruh. Throwback to Vampire Weekend.
The Vampire Weekend. They still make music, even though one of the core members left, and it's just Ezra now. But man, this album is so critically well received this year. Like, it's nominated for Album of the Year. Every major publication is putting it in their top favorite albums. A good friend of mine who loves them loved this album. Mm-hmm. I was not ever really super into Vampire Weekend back when they were like extremely relevant, like 5 or 6 years ago before this album came out. So this is kind of like one of my most formidable experiences with Vampire Weekend. It's a good album. Like, it is super chill vibes. I remember them releasing the singles, and I really liked the flow of it and stuff like that. It's really long. It's 18 songs, and a lot of them are extremely repetitive. The ones that stand out to me the most are the ones where they featured Steve Lacy, who is a great guitarist and singer. And then they featured a Daniel Haim as well. Okay. But it's an album. You listen to the whole thing. You don't really walk away and say, wow, I really love this song. But even though every single song I listened to, like as I was listening to it, I was like, wait, I low-key know these. I'm like, cheating on me. I've been cheating on you. I'm like, okay. Yeah. But it's not necessarily maybe in my ballpark in the first place, but I also think it's a little overhyped.
That's how I feel about Vampire Weekend
as a whole.
In general.
Yeah.
I've never been a big fan of them. They I don't know how to describe it, but I was a big fan of like The Neighborhood. Yeah. Also, no, here's why. So I feel about Vampire Weekend the way I feel about Arctic Monkeys is that they're like the album that the Arctic Monkeys put out with like Do I Want to Know, and like that whole album sounded exactly the same to me.
Oh, you feel that they don't really do a lot of change in their sound. There's definitely people who they love artists that don't change their sound. Yeah. A la maybe Arctic Monkeys in a Vampire Weekend situation. And then there's artists who constantly change their sound. Like people either love or hate for that, a la Walk the Moon. Reinventing themselves every single album. Some fans are like, nope, they're not doing what I want them to do anymore. Peace. And other fans like me are like, yes, I want you to change your sound. And so, yeah, I mean, that's how I feel about Vampire Weekend. This one, I felt like the sound was different than the stuff I previously listened to before. But it wasn't so off the wall that I was like, what is this? Yeah. And I know Vampire Weekend fans are either they love it or hate it. Some have told me they loved it. Some have told me they hated it. It's really, a love-hate album. It's a love-hate album, apparently. I am one person who I don't love it or hate it. It's right in the middle for me.
It exists.
It's good. I played it while I was driving one time during a sunset, and it was a total mood. But other than that, I'm like, it's okay. It's a mid, you know? So we'll see how it does with the Grammys and stuff like that, because I feel like it might win something here and there, but I'll be curious to see if it wins anything like super major. Okay. You know? Yeah. All right, kick it off, my boy.
All right, so at number 60, we've got 1K Few with What's Understood 2.
Oh, What's Understood 2, a different What's Understood than what I talked about earlier. The sequel.
What's Understood. I really like this album, and this is, again, another album that came out and I loved. I just thought something else was better, which is why it landed where it is.
I think that's fair.
Just like a sidebar, in my ratings, this is where we get to where I have like 4 or 5 albums that are all rated the same. Yeah. I just kind of had to go. I went back and listened to them and put them in order just on like, I like this better.
Yeah.
But this project, I was not gonna lie, I was a little bit of a 1K Few doubter. I thought
even after we saw him live.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was.
Wow.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I really like his hooks.
Yeah,
I like.
He's
his
a hook
voice,
layer for sure. Love his voice,
and I like things that he's done. But I did not really like dig it all
as
that
like a
much.
Solo artist, though.
Yeah,
that's fair.
He like because there's without a doubt he puts out some of the greatest hooks that we've heard recently.
He laid down the Hammer Time hook like as a
my God,
freestyle
yeah.
for Lecrae, and then it just one take.
Yeah,
boom,
and Hammer Time pops everywhere.
Pops off.
But this project, I sat down and listened to it, and I was like, all right, I hope this blows me away.
Yeah.
And blow me away it did.
Kung Fu,
Wildin' Out with Lecrae.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I'm not a Foggy fan, Moonwalk with Foggy Raw. I love everything about this album. And then I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about this. So he has a song called End of the Road featuring Canton Jones and 1K Son. And Canton Jones is a gospel legend. And to hear him on a song that blends hip hop and gospel so fluidly, and it's not like corny, it's real and it's deep and it like has a whole lot of feeling and it feels like it has a whole lot of meaning behind it because it does. This is definitely a project that I continue to listen to and I don't foresee myself ever stopping listening to this.
Yeah.
This project is good from top to bottom. It also, I like how we kind of got different versions of 1K Few, where he's like really trappy, like wilding out. He's like having fun. We get deep 1K Few. We get theological 1K Few. We get, I'm going to speak to you as like a person to person 1K Few. And I feel like he's an artist that brings out the best in others as well. And then he also did a great job of picking features that he could work so well with, like Aha Gazelle, What Up RG, Lecrae, Ty Brazel. I think like this album was really, really good. And I'm really, really happy that this is what came out. And definitely gonna be on the lookout for whatever he does next, because this is not leaving any playlist of mine anytime soon. And as we mentioned in a previous episode, he did just get added to NBA 2K20. So if you're avid fan of the 2K series, check it out and listen to it. It's him and No Big Deal, who we'll definitely talk about later as well. Mm-hmm. But this is really, really solid project. Very Atlanta.
Very Atlanta. That's why I think we like it so much. Honestly, it sounds familiar with a twist.
Yes. Perfect description of it.
Familiar with a twist.
Familiar with a
good martini. Anywho, so speaking of martinis, this is segue martinis that you drink at a bar in New York. No album to me sounded more like a night out on the town and made me want to go out to like a big city like New York and just go bar hopping than The Good and the Bad by Anthony Ramos. Another Hamilton alumni. He's going to be the lead in the In the Heights movie, which is really, really monumental for his career, considering that
absolutely.
He was not cast in the original cast of In the Heights, even though he auditioned for it, and he almost quit acting because of it, because he felt like that was his one chance to do something. He didn't get it, but he got Hamilton. He got some other stuff with Lin-Manuel, and now they're super tight. And he released his first solo album outside of a musical this year with The Good and the Bad. It's good. It's not bad. It's only good. Actually, it's great. That's what we're going to call it. It should be The Great and the Great. It is a great album. I listened to it in one sitting at night, and it was perfect. I wanted to go out and have a nice night on a town, go bar hopping, maybe go to a brewery or a nice restaurant or something. Mm-hmm. It's definitely an album that makes me want to like be in like Soho, New York.
Yeah, for sure.
It is a photograph. It is a time and a place. It's maybe not ranked any higher than in the top 50s just because it is a time and a place. It is a photographical album in my mind. It doesn't, it's not earth-shaking in its impact, but its impact on his career and its impact on Broadway people trying to branch out into a more contemporary, reachable artistic format, I think that's where it's impactful. I think it's the start of, he's really starting to kick off his career outside of Broadway success now. And this is a great way to kick that off. So, Anthony Ramos, man, killing the game.
All right. I apologize for what I'm about to say. But number 59.
What do you got?
Anderson Paak, Ventura.
Get the... No! I knew that this was lower for you, but I forgot about it. We're gonna fight. This is the biggest gap we have. I'm calling it now. This is the biggest gap.
Definitely the biggest gap.
We're finna fight. Talk about it. Let's talk about it.
So this album is again this low because I liked something else better. Where it lacked for me was in flow and in concept. Which I know is super controversial.
Get this man out of here. Get this man out of here.
Me. I know exactly who's about to come for my entire life. And I probably deserve it, but it's what I think. This album is fantastic. He's an amazing songwriter. Amazing rapper, amazing musician. Pulls the best out of whoever he works with. And I just gave Colton an aneurysm. I'm so sorry. But I truly feel like this is another album that I thought was very, very good, but there's things that stood out to me that came out this year more. And as great as this album was, it felt very safe for him. It just going back through, and I spent a lot of time with him this year, just listening to it and going back to listening to some of the things that he is like featured on, like RNP with YB and Cordae. Or even going back to No Worries and the Gift that was Suede. This album is in his pocket, which I appreciate because he can ride the crap out of that pocket. However, I feel like it just kind of was in that pocket too long for me, where I didn't feel like he was reaching anywhere. Where he.
Do you think he was reaching too much? I got him. That's the name of one of the songs. I got him.
You did.
I just won.
You did, but I think that I think this was a very safe album, and I think it's the album that
I will agree with that.
I think it's gonna win a Grammy.
I hope
for sure.
So.
I really do think so. It is my pick for that Grammy. Do I want him to branch out collab wise, because it's a lot of jazz in these collabs, Lala Hathaway, Smokey Robinson. I feel like this album was very good, and this album is wonderful to listen to. It's super smooth. It's Anderson Paak, y'all. Like he's not gonna. I really feel like he's never gonna put out something bad. But this one was just a little too safe for my liking. That being said, will I listen to this forever? Yes, I will. But
oh yeah, it's a longevity play.
It is. I just think this one was really, really safe, and it's really not the thing that I wanted this year. Just for like personal reasons, I was like, I want to see people branching out as like I'm trying to, and so I feel like his next project, because he does this where he'll just collaborate with everyone, and we're seeing that already where he's having a super massive impact just in the world of collabs. And I feel like this album was great. This album deserves R&B album of the year.
It does. It does.
I would like, for example, I would like an album of him and BJ the Chicago Kid.
Oh.
And I want him to rap.
Oh, that'll be one of the best albums of my life. If that happens.
So that is my thoughts on Ventura by Anderson Paak, which I know it's kind of controversial to have it this low because I love this album. But I feel like it was safe and safety is not something that I want this year. And so, yeah, that is my honest opinion of Anderson Paak's Ventura.
Listen.
Also, shout out to Anderson Paak for coming for Gold Link because we don't let that slide.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Well, we're just going to move on because I could say so many things here right now, but obviously, like you can tell, this is somewhere on my list.
Shooketh.
So we're going to talk about it later. Anyhow, moving on to number 58. For me, is going to be Pony by Rex Orange County. So, 1010 was a debut single for this project, and I think it was one of my favorite songs of this year. And I initially found Rex Orange County because he was a featured artist and songwriter on Tyler the Creator's Flower Boy, which is my favorite Tyler album. Mm-hmm. And I loved his voice on it. And so when he was popping up that he was releasing a new project, I'm like, you know what? Cool. I've never really gotten too much into him because he doesn't have a ton of content of his own. So this album was good. It was good. I had a buddy of mine who messaged me saying that I had posted it on Instagram, and because of my posting, he listened to it and he loves it now. So, like, I re-alerted a couple people to it, which I think is great. The first half is not my favorite, but the second half I love.
Yeah.
I was looking for another 1010 is my issue. 1010 was so good that I was like, man, where's that another 1010? The second half, though, is awesome. It's really good. I think it's a strong album. It just... I think in this case of yours, it's not bad. It's just that there's something better that I liked better.
Yeah.
So Rex Orange County, just I hope him to keep pushing. He's doing a world tour for this album pretty soon.
Oh, solid.
Yeah, he's really starting to get his name out there more than just being that dude on Flower Boy. So good stuff, man. Like good stuff. I've revisited this album many times. Just because it is number 58 does not mean I'm not going back and listening to it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right, so my number 58 is Ghetto Cowboy by Yellow Wolf.
Oh, man. We got another Yellow Wolf project here. Did you listen to both this year?
I did listen to both.
Okay.
I loved both. I didn't like this one as much as I like Trunk Music because I feel like Trunk Music was a solid throwback that delivered. We'll get there anyway. Ghetto Cowboy. So this is the album that had been teased forever. Yellow Wolf, of course, put out Trunk Music 1. Then we got Radioactive, I believe, which was his mainstream debut. And then he disappeared, and then he came back as a cowboy, and we got the incredible journey of an album that was Love Story. And then he started
his best work.
Yes. And then he started talking about he started calling himself Ghetto Cowboy and said, all right, my next album's going to be called Ghetto Cowboy. And then we didn't get it. We got Trial by Fire. We got the Hotel mixtape. We got Trunk Music 3. And then finally we got Ghetto Cowboy. And this is still in the same lane as the Love Story. It's not as good, in my opinion, it's not as good as Love Story was.
The intro alone is not as good as Love Story's intro.
Yeah, Love Story has a classic intro. But this album, I feel like, was him just trying to rap and trying to get... He was definitely feeling himself in this lane that he has. I feel like Opie Taylor is...
A bop?
Is an absolute bop.
A
just
bop?
Like a sit there, drive, and just go for it song on this album. I feel like he definitely for me, kind of toned down the wordplay a little bit. Which is something that knocked it down a little bit because that's something that he's
been known for.
Yeah. And it's super Southern still. Yeah. So there's nothing different about that.
Yeah.
But there's definitely an element of wordplay that is different here. And it's not as heavy emphasizing on it. This is not what if I ran up to you with a pogo stick with a photo of Jesus in a paper pamphlet and reading it to you like I was playing Hamlet. This is not that Yellow Wolf. This is this is the most mature Yellow Wolf project that I think we've ever gotten.
Interesting.
In that he's it's very introspective, but not sad introspective. It's look at where we are, look at where we started, look where we're going to go. And I feel like this album is definitely one of his word of mouth albums. But it's definitely has a lot of songs that I just kind of sit down and listen to, Lightning, Renegades, Country Rich, Opie Taylor, as I said before, Box Chevy 7, which continues that series. So this is a very, very, very good album. I think it was a little safe for him. He didn't deliver as many memorable lines. I probably butchered that word, but it's fine.
Memorable.
That one. But I feel like it was very good. It is very solid. He was safe.
It was a mid. It was a mid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
It's mid. It happens.
For sure. All right.
You know this was a mid, and for me to say that, it's like, whoa. He thinks that's a mid? Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Wow. Whoa.
That's a mid.
Whoa, coming at logic here.
That's a mid, bruh. See, here's the thing. I really do like this album. Out of the 12 projects that Logic has released over the course of his career, it is number 8 for me total. Mm-hmm. I like it, though. Homicide, what we talked about, was a bop. The intro song was great. And then Clickbait and then the fourth song, both 1, 2, 3, and 4 really set the scene.
Yeah.
And then after that is where it just kind of goes veering off. I thought it was going to be a more conceptualized album about social media, like with the artwork and the phone.
Yeah, for sure.
That social media shit is a contest kind of thing. And then it kind of just veers off into a lot more Bobby Tarantino trap mixtape thing, which isn't necessarily bad. It just I didn't think that was this character.
Yeah.
But you know what? I cannot complain too much because here's the thing. As a Logic fan, it is great to be a Logic fan because even though sometimes you got to fight for him, because people want to be shitting on him.
Of course.
This man released 4 albums in the course of the past 2 years.
That's
not many people even can release 1 in 2 years.
True. Unless you're Gucci Mane, then you release 24 in a year.
But all of them also too have been solid.
Yeah.
They haven't been garbage. Confessions is not garbage.
Not by any means.
It is not garbage. He's released. We have Bobby Tarantino 2, Young Sinatra 4, the soundtrack for Supermarket, and then this. All in the course of 2 years. That's really impressive.
Oh, for sure.
We weren't expecting this to drop. We didn't know this was coming. He just started dropping singles and was like, oh, by the way, it's just so casual.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people got all upset about like, whoa, like this album isn't that good. I'm like, y'all, we've been blessed with the fact that we even got an album right now. We got more music to hold us over. He listens to his fans and he just drops music on music on music. He don't even care if he thinks it's that good. He's very much about, I would rather drop a project and get something out there for the fans to hold and critique me on than to withhold from them for years and years and years and years until I have no more fans and deliver something amazing no one's going to listen to.
Okay.
He's that kind of artist. And you know what? I'm down with that. He doesn't have to be a Frank Ocean. I'm glad he's not a Frank Ocean and that he gives me lots and lots of music to listen to and love as one of my favorite artists of all time. I also theorized, too, that he's also low-key trolling all of us and that he's about to come back with some highly conceptual album that is going to be he and everyone that was like, yo, wait, I'm back on Logic. He's going to be like, psych, I was here the whole time. You left. You a fake fan.
Yeah.
He's that kind of dude.
Yeah.
He's that kind of dude. He plans all this stuff. Like, his last album artwork for this was embedded 3 albums ago, artwork-wise. Mind-blowing. He's writing code and messages all over this thing, and we're going to find out what that is 2 years down the road when he releases some insane album.
Hasn't he been, like, teasing one album for, like, ever?
Oh, he's been teasing Ultra 85 since 2017.
Okay.
We're never getting that album. I'm going to say that.
It's his Astroworld.
It's his Astroworld. We're never going to get it. And the more I say it, the more likely it is that it'll happen because it's opposite day out here. So, yeah, Confessions. I personally really like this album. I personally would put it higher, but on a technical level, I am not crazy. I am not crazy. I know that it is not, where he could be and where he has been before.
Yeah, for sure.
So, on that respect, it's a mid. It's a 57 for me.
All right, cool. All right, so my number 57 is I actually feel like this is the first pure dubstep album put on here, but it's Demons by Bear Grylls. Yeah.
Right, Bear Grylls, not
the survival expert.
Exactly,
but
different
the
person.
dude that wears the bear helmet when he DJs. I really like this album. I feel like he expanded his reaches. Because there's don't get me wrong, there's Sullivan King, who we've talked about before, is on this album. There's just that solid, just bang your head dubstep is on here. But there's also a lot of feeling in here. Songs like Emergency. This album, like, he had something to say, and he's been a very, very big proprietor of being healthy mentally, which I'm a super fan of. But this album, just the highlight, the overall highlight, the best song he has produced that I've ever heard, is a song featuring a guy named Micah Martin called Stay. And there are a few songs that just get me like ready to go than this one. And it's unique because it's not like your typical like big, it's not very big sounding, but it's super punchy and everything has a purpose, and you can tell that everything has a purpose. So if I could recommend a song from this album, it'd be that one. It would also be the title track, Demons, featuring Run, which also closes out the song, closes out the album. That's a very good one. And then So the Sullivan King song, Deathbed, is also super heavy. Just like their previous collab, I believe it's called Madness. Please don't crucify me if I got that wrong. But this album for him, I feel like is a very, very good start. I hope and I really, really wish that he continues to be at the forefront of EDM and dubstep. He was just in Birmingham a couple of days ago, and I feel like if he can, as he continues, he will get better and better and better, and will be further and further as a mainstay. Because he's already been doing this since like 2013, 2014. So he's a guy that will definitely be around for the long haul. And I feel like as long as he keeps up this quality, he will have no problem being that guy.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So 56, Eris by Jaden Smith. So I love this album. I did not expect to love this album because I couldn't get through Sire. But Eris.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I couldn't get through it. It's not, but it's a different aesthetic.
This is true.
Because Eris is the exact opposite of Sire. It's literally Sire spelled backwards. And while Sire is like very commendable for how delicate and dreamlike it was, this is the Jaden I love. This is Jaden going, I'm going to go hard. I'm going to go trap. And I'm going to go like Travis Scotty and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to take a listen to it because I saw him open for J. Cole and Young Thug a year ago. And honestly, his energy really impressed me. So I'm like, let's take a listen. Why not? And it starts with a 4-song track that is split up into one letter piece called Pink, which is the opposite of Blue. That is the opener for Sire. When he introduced the idea that this is a concept, that's when I was on board. And I was like, I went back to Sire and I was like, I get it now.
Yeah.
Because Sire, I was like, huh? But this one is completing this world building aspect that I always love a good concept album. So I'm down with it. And it moves. Like I from Pink, man, I'll blast that all day.
Uh-huh.
And he has some great features. He had Tyler come in and drop a bar. We had Trinidad James, ASAP. And then he did...
I forgot he pulled Trinidad James.
Yeah, he pulled Trinidad James in there. And then he had a song called Fireman. And it's him on a guitar just going pop punky as he possibly can. Really leaning into a Juice WRLD aesthetic with like emo punk rap.
Uh-huh.
But it's good. It has a beginning, middle, and ending. The ending is really beautiful. It's all about this like concept of him killing the character and Sire like witnessing this. And he features himself a la Logic, where he features Sire on a song. That's on Eris. Yeah. And I'm like, you just featured yourself. And then he also does a lot of cool shout outs to Logic too by sampling him a couple moments. So of course I'm gonna respect that because that's my boy.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, this is a good album. I really like it. A couple people who've listened to it have said, you know what, Jaden Smith as a musician is underappreciated, and I agree.
I definitely can feel that.
He's underappreciated. Sure. He's also the hero that we all need because the whole Flint, Michigan thing, water activism, he makes his own clothes, environmentally conscious. What a guy. Like, he's like 3 years younger than us, and he's a hero, and I'm like, geez, man, you're cool. He's a cool dude. I like him.
Oh, for sure. All right, so my number 56 album is by a band called I Prevail. The album is Trauma. So this is another one of our hardcore entries into this list. I Prevail is a band that you might have probably saw one of their Facebook ads way back in like 2016 for their song called Scars. They were that hardcore band that popped up everywhere because they paid a crap ton of money for their ads to get that out there.
On Facebook, of all things.
On Facebook. And it worked. I'd feel like if the song hadn't been good, then this wouldn't have worked. But the song was good. And this album is also very good. Yes, it is a hardcore album. So, yes, there is screaming. But this album has a very nice balance of both screams and clean singing, where a lot of albums and a lot of hardcore bands just kind of try to get like stuck in one,
right,
where they're like trying to be something they're not. And this walks a very fine line of having that really pop sound and having there's like 808s in a hardcore album, like, which is really nice.
That's wild.
Yeah, there's some really solid tracks in here, including Rise Above It, DOA, Gasoline, Hurricane. I know that's like 3 songs in a row, but that stretch is really good. And then one of my personal favorites is actually an interlude, and it's the Goodbye interlude. Just because I feel like it's a very, very nice touch. You gotta love a good interlude. But yeah, that is Trauma by I Prevail. Check it out. These guys are definitely doing their thing and definitely growing a lot into their sound.
My number 55 is Escape from New York by Beast Coast. So this is, I think, our first what you would call like label collective album, because Beast Coast is like a collective of Joey Badass, Flatbush Zombies, and then a bunch of other artists that are like signed to like the Pro Era Beast Coast like label. And this was actually a great album. Like, I really liked it, especially coming from the standpoint of like a label-ish album, because those usually aren't good.
I don't work.
Yeah, they don't work very well. But this was a good one. The artwork is fantastic. It flows super well. It is not at all like bad. It's just, I think it was a little forgettable slightly, is why it's kind of like under the 50s on my list. But like, man, there's some bops on here. Left Hand is a bop. And they performed that, I think, on Jimmy Fallon, and it was incredible. And they did some crazy stuff with their tour where Joey was flying on like strings and he was flying to the audience, like super theatrical stuff. So really strong props to the overall like artist growth of everyone, whether they were large or small, on this album. Like, you walked away thinking, wow, that was a really good fill an artist's name moment for that person.
Yeah.
But it's super good. I would definitely go back and listen to it again. It's very like, it's kind of like acid trippy rap a little bit, but it's also like very hype, like a la Travis Scott. So good stuff.
Ooh, fun. All right, so my number 55 is by Black Bear. It's called Anonymous.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Black Bear.
So Black Bear released this year. His first full length since 2017 Cybersex. Also great album. If you haven't listened to it, please do it. He made Riff Raff sound good. Woo. But this album, I feel like, was a very solid return to Black Bear's form. He is it on this album, and really you can definitely tell that he is like has something to say and is making everything work in a way that is very distinctly Black Bear. His year was kind of, I feel like this album was overshadowed a little bit by the release of Hot Girl Bummer and how like TikTok popular that got, and then which translated into it becoming just like his big hit song from this year.
For sure.
I feel like this album wasn't necessarily made for radio, like some of like Digital Drug Lord or Cybersex was. This album is very good. It's very long. It's very sad. So if you want to get into your sad boy feels kind of mood, this is definitely it. It is Black Bear, so there is some things that will confuse you, such as the song about how his drug dealer is moving away and how he doesn't know.
That is my favorite song.
How he's gonna make any friends. And
it's so good.
It's really good. It's really sad.
But lyrically, yeah, it's very dark.
Yeah, it's like a positive amidst this really, really negative kind of feeling.
Yeah.
How he's friends with his drug dealer, and drug dealers aren't necessarily a good thing, but also like they're people too.
It's like making a relationship, like a person. Out of this like shadowy figure.
Yeah, which is also very interesting, just considering his history with drugs and alcohol and how he is clean. As far as I'm aware,
as we know, whatever that means.
How he has like kind of moved away from that, but is still associated with it in a way. So good on him for changing and turning his life around. But this album I thought was very good. It's a little too long, in my opinion.
I agree.
However, I feel like this length is made up for the fact that none of the songs are like 12 minutes long.
Yeah.
Like some of the other albums that have super, super long songs in an already really long album. And it flows almost perfectly because it is Bear, and he probably made this in order. And you can definitely tell that he takes a lot of time to consider where everything is supposed to go. So that's Black Bear Anonymous. Check it out if you feel like it. Maybe. I don't know. Don't listen to me. Listen to me. Who knows?
I'm pretty sure it's the name of one of his songs. Maybe, I don't know, or IDK.
Maybe, IDFC? Like I Am Black Bear?
TTYL,
Nyla.
Like all of his songs are just named after like text shortcuts.
Basically. And I mean, like, just or For You from Dead Roses.
Yeah.
One more thing. This felt the most Dead Roses out of all of his projects. If you haven't listened to Dead Roses, please go listen to Dead Roses. Just do it. Bless yourself. Or help. Either or. Those two projects by him are absolutely incredible. And if you know the words, he'll point at you and give you a high five at one of his shows.
Number 54 for me is Apollo 21 by Steve Lacy. So Steve Lacy, he was on the Vampire Weekend album. I mentioned him earlier. He's basically very known for being a strong like instrumentalist, guitarist, bassist. He worked with a lot of the band The Internet, which is led by
TBT to the Internet.
TBT to the Internet. Maybe they'll make another album. We're not sure. But
they're like the XX. We just don't know.
Yeah. But they're led by Sid the Kid from Odd Future. So, like, it's all kind of tying into, like, this West Coast collective that he found himself in when he was in his, like, late high school years. But this is his first, like, solo project of him as a solo artist. He's mainly just been a collaborator and featured artist. And it's really good. It's nominated for a Grammy, which is super awesome because I kind of didn't see that coming with him being so small. But he got a lot of traction from this album.
Which category?
Somewhere in R&B.
Okay.
Because you know how they break it down with like urban contemporary and stuff like that?
Which they should.
Yeah, somewhere in there. I don't know what they consider it because it's funky, but it's very Jimi Hendrix. He has very Jimi Hendrix vibes as a whole. Like, guitaring is his main thing, and then singing is his second, you know? The album artwork was super cool. All of the aesthetics of it were, like, interesting and kind of new, but also vintage at the same time. It's just a good album. Like, this is another one I would say, I want this on vinyl because it would sound phenomenal on a turntable while I'm making some pasta.
Hey.
But yeah, Steve Lacy, super strong stuff. I think it's just under my 50 because it is an album. I don't sit down and say, man, everyone listen to that one song from Apollo 21. I have to sit down and listen to the whole thing. So I think for me, sometimes projects that are really high up on my list are ones I can sit down and listen to the whole thing, and ones that I can also pull a song or two from and throw that on like a playlist or something. But Apollo 21 is just an album, which is totally fine. It's just, that's why it's a little bit under the 50, but still super good.
Sweet. All right, so my number 54 is Truck Music 3, which is, I believe, the second Yellow Wolf entry in this 10.
That is correct.
Right here.
That is correct.
So I really enjoyed this. I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way. I only did not like one song, and that's Special Kind of Bad. That song was just not, I just did not like that song.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how to feel about that one. So
that song was just weird.
It is weird.
However, everything else on this project was distinctly trunk music and was exactly what I wanted.
It's a bop. Everything is a bop.
Sure.
The whole album is a bop.
Even when he gets kind of feelsy at the very end with Addiction and Over Here. Also, no one can tell you that you're a bitch like Yellow Wolf because, oh my God. But anyway, he came out with Trunk Music 3, like the intro, right after he did those that string of freestyles earlier in 2019.
Oh, yeah.
Where he gave us one a week until the project came out. And that was kind of spearheaded, or like not spearheaded, but kind of peaked with the Bloody Sunday freestyle where he just G-Eazy and Post Malone and Clever from the other Clever from Gadsden, not his DJ. So this project was very, very interesting in the fact that it was him back just to kind of having fun. It felt like he was having fun. He wasn't trying to like prove a point or like show that he is pioneering that like kind of country rap sound. He was just out here rapping, and Catfish Billy too. Just pop.
Man, it's so good.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the day where him and MGK link to perform Rowdy live together. But Trailer Park Hollywood's a bot. Box Chevy 6 with Ritz and DJ Paul, legends just all around. We Slum, where he brought Big Henry and his deceased friend, who's, you're gonna hate me because I just forgot his name. What is his name? Because he passed away.
Is it Cook Up Boss?
Shawty Fat. No.
Oh.
It's him and Shawty Fat who passed away right before he went crazy.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So I like this Yellow Wolf. He teased it for a very long time, and I feel like it delivered on everything that it needed to do.
Yeah.
I feel like he pulled, like, again, this is another album where he pulled incredible features out of people. Like he got Doobie and Caskey on a song, and they both just rap their asses off. Really, he really doesn't pick anybody to be featured on his stuff that can't rap their ass off or doesn't find a pocket that they can be in. Like, you got MGK on Rowdy, of course, after the whole MGK Eminem fiasco.
Please don't take my verse off of Yellow Wolf's album. Thank you.
Yeah, which is probably one of the G'est moves, but y'all not ready for that conversation. So this album is very, very good if you just want something to sit down and kill your sub with. This album will do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a really, really fun time from Yellow Wolf. So I appreciate that he gave us this year.
Yeah. My number 53 is Complaint by Watsky.
Yo.
So Watsky,
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Watsky's awesome. He's this San Francisco poet, rapper, savant. This was like an EP, which is like, it's pretty short. I mean, it's 9 songs, and so that's maybe why it's a little bit further down my list than maybe a full-length Watsky album would be. And I also wasn't sure how I felt about this project when it first came out, but the more and more I listened to it, I was like, this is genius. Like, this is awesome. And it is super consistent in its sound, but without sounding like the same song repeated over and over and over again. Every single song, I think, is super strong in its own right, but they work especially well all put together. Welcome to the Family was one of the singles and was a super strong intro to me. No Complaints, No Conversation was like the middle ground single that kind of grounded the whole album. And then the rest of just his wordplay is just genius. It's a super simple, straight concept, and I think it is what keeps him like touring and stuff like that. He also grew out his hair again. Not sure how I feel about that part, but everything else, it's a strong project. And if you like Watsky, if you like poetry, if you just like lyricism, this is definitely a project that you're going to want to check out, because I mean, it also only takes 28 minutes of your time.
Oh, for sure.
It's going to go by, and honestly, I think I've left it on like 3 times in a row and just kind of play back to back to back to back, because it's how consistent it is, where it starts and ends in like a similar fashion.
Yeah.
But it still has a beginning, middle, and end to me. So good stuff from Watsky, but really looking forward to a longer, like full-length conceptualized
because Times Infinity was long.
Yeah.
Times Infinity was great.
Yeah. Times Infinity was amazing. It was almost 3 or 4 years. It's 3 years ago, but almost 4. But it is long. An hour and 15 is long. So I think he was like, let me just kind of, let me chill out a little bit. Let me do like a 30-minute project. But I'm looking for like another hour-long project in the future to like be in like my top 20.
Mm-hmm. We'll come back to that. We're definitely about to come back to that.
All right.
So my number 53 is by a guy named Thistle, and the album's called Stag. Thistle.
Educate me.
Thistle is, to me, so early to everybody, Thistle's an OG of Christian hip-hop. He's been doing this for a minute.
Okay.
And so this project, I actually found out about it really late in the year, just because I gotten disconnected from that world a little bit. But this project, he has so much to say. So much to say. It starts off with this intro that's 54 seconds long, going over this news story about when he got shot.
Oh, wow.
And that just set, if that is all you need to know about this project.
Wow.
It goes from there, and then he just goes in. And it's definitely one of the most real albums that you could possibly have.
Yeah.
Where you can definitely feel like there's a conflict, but that conflict is not attacking. It's more of a, I'm a human being, and let me tell you how I'm going through this. But his voice is just haunting in all of these songs. He's definitely one that I go back and listen to sometimes just to like keep in my head and like just kind of like I use it as a gym album sometimes. I use it just to like sit there when I'm in like a mood where I'm just like, all right, I need to listen to something.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, this is what I'm going through. Yeah. This is what I've been through. This is where I'm going. And that's the most important part with, I feel like, a lot of these projects that are darker. He kind of emphasizes a little bit on where he's going to go and like how these events that have happened in the past can take him places in the future. So definitely check this out. That is my number 53.
That is really interesting. I like that. My number 52 is Hyperspace by Beck. So,
the boy.
Yeah, Beck, man. Beck. Keeping it going. That career longevity. But that's what I liked about this album is that it didn't feel like anything else he's done before. The aesthetics of it are really interesting. That's what drew me in, was like the marketing of it. The cover art is super cool. It's very 80s, and it has like this like Neo-Tokyo Japanese aesthetic to it.
Yeah.
That is super awesome, that I really, really like. And he had Pharrell come in and produce it.
Oh, do we get that 4 count in any of them?
I know there's one song I think that has it, but I think he executive produced like over like half the album, so not the whole thing.
Okay.
But he did. There's one song, like a single that he did that was like dum 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 dum. This is a Pharrell beat with a 4 count. But yeah, and it's a really good album, super strong. I think it flowed really well. It's a little short, and it also is an album. There's the single from it, Ever Ending Days, I think is a standout, but the rest of it is like Apollo 21. You listen to it as a full album project. I'm not going back and I'm grabbing singular songs.
Yeah, for sure.
He also did a music video with like half the cast of Westworld. So like Evan Rachel Wood and the one girl that's also in Thor was in it too. It was really interesting. I was like, why is half the cast of Westworld just in this music video? But
just
okay,
straight chilling.
Really cool stuff though. I think strong career maturity, and that's pretty much all I have to, I guess, really say about it. I say go check it out, kind of zone out. It's also a great album to drive to.
Okay.
The first time I listened to it was driving, and it worked out really well. It's chill, but it's not like put you to sleep boring. So it's a good balance. So good stuff from Beck.
Yay, Beck. All right, so my number 52 is actually a comeback album in a sorts. It's by our favorite British band called Rudimental. It's called Toast to Our Differences.
I don't even know who this is, so it's not a comeback to me. It's a come up.
So Rudimental, they're a pop band, but they've been like very much heavy into like the electronic world, and like their dives into that have always been very, very good. I really enjoyed this album because it was definitely a pop album because they had Macklemore on here.
Yo, they do.
They have Macklemore on here, and James Arthur, and Major Lazer, Chronix, Rita Ora, Olivia Dean, Yeba. It's a great album. Mr. Easy's also on here. This is just an album that wasn't good. It wasn't great. Rather, it was good. It also wasn't terrible. This album was solidly okay, but this album was just so much fun to listen to.
It's a mid.
Yeah. It wasn't like Young Thug so much fun where I was like, yo, this is kind of bad, but also I love this.
Right.
This was like, okay, this is cool. I got to the end of this hour and was like, you know what? All right. Yeah. It's like when you like go through that Family Guy marathon and you don't know why you're there, but you stop and you're like, huh, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was oddly satisfying.
Yeah.
Yeah, this album was satisfying. It was cool.
It's real.
I'm glad that they're back. I hope that their shows still go off like they used to, and I'm excited to see what else they come and bring in the future. But I'm really glad that these guys are back and that their return wasn't terrible, because we have seen that happen. However, if you just want something fun to listen to, not a whole lot of substance, but if you just want something that you can bop your head in the car to. Maybe put it on with your children. This is the album for you. But yeah, that is my number 52. It's rudimental. Toast to our differences.
Speaking of so much fun, number 51 is So Much Fun by Young Thug.
Segue.
What a segue. I actually like this album better than I thought I would because, as we talked about before, I went in expecting to not like it, like whatsoever. Like, I can only stand so much, and then I'm like, yo, I'm like, I can't do that for like an hour. But honestly, I did, and it went really fast. Like,
you damn right.
It was the album was ending. I was like, oh, that's it. Like, wow, that was quick. And I think the idea of it just being something that wasn't supposed to be deep, because that's not really his lane in the first place. The idea that it was just gonna be just for kicks and giggles and fun was a good idea. Mm-hmm. And it conceptually worked out super well. The cover art was actually really cool. There's a video on YouTube of the kid, like this 20-year-old kid who designed it.
Yeah.
Which is a picture that Thug's manager took of him, and then a couple pictures in like the studio backlot, and then this kid just edited all of them and just put all these little thugs onto this overlay of grass, and it worked out super well. So cover art is fire. The collaborations on it were super strong. They even remixed Hot, and it was a bop. Like, I can't lie. I mean, had some songs of the year. Probably, it also, I think, was his best project because of its overall impact on his career and his audience and what it's doing for, like, the genre. Mm-hmm. So that's why, like, I ranked this much higher than I thought it was gonna, because I thought it was gonna be like 80, 90, but like 51, that's pretty high. Like, it's higher than yours, which shocked me, because I thought you were going to put it, like, above, like, top 50, and we kind of switched roles here, and you put it, like, a couple episodes back, and I'm putting this at 51, the halfway point.
I think if I had listened to his interview with T.I. before I listened to it, I think it'd be much higher.
Yeah.
But I didn't. And now that I understand it, I probably would bump it up, but I think that appearance on T.I.'s podcast where he talked about he's like, I made this album not for me but for everybody else. Mm-hmm. That's why it's called So Much Fun. I think that really kind of changed my perspective on it a little bit, and also understanding why he uses his voice the way he does in like just the many voices of Thugger, like, because he has probably the most voices other than Kendrick in modern rap. Just because it's Thug, because that's what he feels like and that's what he wants to do.
And whether or not you think that some of those voices work and aren't good, it doesn't really matter as much as like.
And he really doesn't give a shit what you think.
Does not care
at all,
which is commendable.
Yeah, and we all need a little bit of that.
Yeah. So this album was honestly more than just fun. It was actually technically pretty strong. So much technique.
No, that was not the one. All right, so my number 51 is by my girl Doja Cat. The album's called Hot Pink.
I meant to listen to it. I didn't have time because it came out like just recently.
So me and Max Menaker experienced this album together on a drive down from Washington, D.C. And honestly, I love this album. I love her. She is so funny, and she can actually rap. Like, that is, like, at first I was like, oh, it's Doja Cat, just gonna be a bunch of meme rap. And, like, partly it is. But also, she, like, gets in this flow sometimes. Yeah. And I was like, oh. All right. Like, wow. Cool. Bet. Like, I'm here for this.
Yo, that was an ad-lib right there. Whoa. Cool.
Hey. But no, definitely next time she is, like, remotely close to me on tour, I'm gonna go because I feel like I need to experience this in person. Because there are so many things in this album, like the song "Addiction," "Shine," "Won't Bite" with Smino. Like, all of these songs,
I love Smino,
are good, like incredible. And I was just like, wow, this is. I was like, I did not expect to like this much. I was like,
both our 51s were shocks of like, oh, this is a lot better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, and like, not even to say that I thought it was going to be bad. I thought it was going to be all right. Yeah. I just thought it was going to be like just a bunch of meme rap, and that is not at all what this project was. And I deeply, deeply appreciate like that kind of switch up that happened. But definitely listen to this if you need just a new voice in your head.
Yeah.
Listen to Doja Cat because her voice will get in your head and it will stay there. Whether or not you enjoy that, that's up to you. I enjoyed it. I will listen to this again. I actually listened to this earlier today. So Doja Cat, Hot Pink. It's a vibe.
It's a vibe. All right. Well, that is our halfway point through Wrapped 2019. Finally. So we're getting there. From here on out, like, we're talking about like good stuff. Like good, great, and best is all we got going forward. No more mids. No more.
We not smoking mid no mo.
No, we don't do that no mo. So, thank you all so much for listening. Be sure to follow us at Wrapped Podcast on Instagram. Email us at wrappedpodcast@gmail.com or hit our own personal Instagrams, Twitters, Facebook, social media platforms. If you agree, disagree, want to comment, want to show love, want to show hate. But if you're going to show hate, you should approach it in like a logical way, like an academic way. Because if you're going to show hate, then you can just keep that to yourself.
Be nice. I'm sensitive.
Exactly. He's a sensitive boy.
I will cry, and then you will feel bad.
Sensitive boys only. All right. We'll catch you guys next time.